All right, Coach Julie back here from the IYCA. Y'all, I am so excited to have Brad Leshinske in the room with me to share some of his insight, his skill sets, and information around really this concept of impactful coaching. How do we become the most impactful coaches, in our sports, beyond the sports? And there are certain ways to help us up level in those areas. And I'm so excited to have Professor Brad Leshinske in the room, as well as business owner, strength and conditioning coach, and public speaker. So Brad, welcome to the room today.
Thanks, Coach Julie. Hope everybody's well. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to tap into some of that brilliance of yours. And I'm sure the coaches and trainers out there, if you're really in and a part of the IYCA, right, there's always room for growth. There's always a next level. And I'm excited to hear what you have to say around this idea of the mindset of most impactful coaches. So we know mindset precedes skill set. So Brad, fill us in. What, any mindsets for you that are really high priority for our coaches to start developing in order for them to have that impactful ripple effect?
For sure. I think, in looking at the mindset, and you're right, it kind of takes precedent over skills, right? I think many coaches go out there and understand the skill set of being a coach. The hard part is being that coach and understanding that role and how it plays a part for the little time you have with your athletes and how that manifests over time. So in no specific order, I have three big things for me that have worked really well. One is being adaptable. I think that's really important, and I'll dive into that in a second. Two is lifelong learner, which I think is, again, so massively important as our, area grows so rapidly, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. It's been massively growing. And then finally, approachable. I think you have to be approachable. So let's dive into, I guess, each of those a little bit. And I'll start off with the last one, approachable. I think oftentimes the mantra that strength coaches have is this big rough guy, although I am having a beer now, but it's like having these big beards and this talk down approach, right? Because we see a lot of the popularity of strength and conditioning at that highest level, right? Oftentimes in the collegiate sector, when most of strength and conditioning coaches, especially our young coaches, start off in the private sector. And we have to learn to be approachable for all ages, whether it's, fifth grader, a high school kid, or even if you're getting some into that college sector, especially when you're working with different genders and different sports. The ability to be approachable will open up a massive amount of opportunity to build relationships and then keep those relationships and have them create buy-in for your program, which is ultimately the goal, right? Is if you don't have buy-in with those athletes, you're not going to have the results that you're seeking or what the athlete truly wants. So I think being approachable is really key. The second one is being adaptable. So oftentimes we have this great plan, right? This awesome protocol we're going to devise, and we're going to go in that weight room and it's going to be, magic. But then sometimes you get in and maybe there was a flood in your facility. Maybe it was raining outside and you can't do your speed work outside. Maybe the AD at the high school you're at says, you know what, we're redoing the floors in the foyer and the hallways. And so you can't be in there, and you have 75 athletes. So you always have to be adaptable, coming up with plan A, which would be, no issues. You're running in, you're doing that magical session that you thought about. And then a plan B and a plan C, and being able to adapt without people around you knowing that you're adapting. So it's building confidence. It's having these different case scenarios that allow us to be impactful while still in our brains, right? We're turning around going, okay, I can't do this. What can I do here? And that also comes with a lot of experience. I could tell you my first year of coaching wasn't that great at being adaptable. I didn't know, you get into these situations and you go, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? We did have a huge flood at one of my facilities, and you walk in and there's an inch of, water on the floor and your turf's all soaked. And it's like, okay, what do you do? I got athletes coming in an hour, so it's not freaking out. It's understanding things happen. but then also on the adaptability side of the coaches, adaptable to the athletes that come in, understanding your athletes. They're not going to come in every day gun ho and ready to train, right? Especially if you're the youth sector. We have a camp going on today at the high school, right? 5th to 8th graders. You think every kid there's 30 of them, is going to be like, I can't wait. They're going to be nervous. They're going to be from another camp. They're going to maybe not want to be there, but mom and dad need a break and they're sending them to strength camp, So you have to understand that. You have to be adaptable to the athletes too, in which you're working with, right? And you have some kids that you'll work with that are really good athletes and they're just having an off day. And so we'll get into that with motivation, but it's being adaptable. And then finally, lifelong learner. I think it's so important to continuously sharpen the sword, right? And always looking for something that can move you forward. You're always learning something new. I'm going to my 20th year as a strength coach and 8th as an educator, and I am learning so much more than I did when I was my first year or two, because I understand things better, and now I can pinpoint certain skill sets that I want to dive into, and I want to get to understand more about myself and how I am as a coach and as an educator, which in turn will allow me to feed down all the stuff I'm learning and understanding. I went to school late in my career. I was 12 years. I went to grad school after being in the field for that long, and then continued on to my terminal degree, and now I'm going to go back and get another one, just because I want to keep learning. And that's what really fuels my progression. I think a lot of coaches' profession. You can't stay stuck in a program you did 10 years ago. Excuse me. And if I look at my programs, and I have from when I was a first year coach, second year coach, I'd be, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And that evolves because you're lifelong learning, all the seminars, all the things you attend, you take away these little nuggets, and over time, those little nuggets turn into gold. And that's really, really important. So those are my big three for being, in the right mindset as a coach. Again,
Oh my gosh, Brad.
space above skill space.
Yes. So good, Brad. And I loved what you said. I'm just going to kind of summarize that right now. Really, these top three is, I heard, actually what I heard through all this is, we're practicing what we preach. Right? Because how many times do we ask our athletes to adapt to, it's a game of adjustments, right? And if we're not actually demonstrating that and able to be agile, right? How are they learning how to be agile and adapt in the moments when things don't go their way? So love that mindset of adaptability. And then secondly, be approachable, right? And I kind of hear in that too is be coachable, be open, right? Be open to possibilities and not open-minded versus closed-minded, especially when it comes to your athletes, their parents, other coaching collaboration opportunities. And then lastly, the lifelong learner. I dig this one, yep. Right? That growth mindset. Our most successful and therefore most impactful coaches have a growth mindset. And there's a lot of ways to get education. Of course, here at the IYCA, that is our wheelhouse. It's exactly what we do in terms of long-term athlete development with our content and certifications. But there are other vehicles. There's a great space in the world for a lot of education in these realms, and old school ways do not get new school results, right, Brad?
That's right.
That's what I'm hearing you say. A decade ago, we did things differently than we do now. So thank you for sharing your brilliance. Y'all, if you're tuning in, which one of those mindsets, right? Which one popped out to you? Is that whether you're really good at it, right? That's the thing. That's the thing we need to play to your strengths, or it's an area that needs some improvement. You need to be more intentional about being more adaptable, being more agile, and maybe getting more education. We would love to know below what your thoughts are around this. And if you like this, if this landed with you, just give us a little thumbs up. Okay, just give us a little thumbs up. This allows us to know what content to keep bringing your way. But Brad, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.